DBS plays.
And then I got the physical Switch copy, and I played through Sonic Generations Remastered on there. I mean, it's technically a remaster. But I mean, a lot of people agree that it didn't really have to be all that, like, improved. Although, there are some areas where I think they could have improved a little more, in all honesty. I feel like, yeah. There are some challenges. See, I think the difference with, I'll have to, like, really, like, wait a few years to see what I think, if I think that, like, which one I think is better. Which Generations is better, Sonic or Shadow Generations? I do think that, I think Shadow Generations improves on a lot of things for Sonic Generations. Like, one thing I noticed about Shadow is that, Shadow Gens, is that there's not really any moments of me going, oh, I don't want to do, you know, oh, I'm dreading this part, or I'm dreading that part. Sonic Generations has a few of those moments. Especially if you're trying to get 100%. Getting S rank on everything, and, like, all the missions, good lord. The mission, like, there are some missions, like, later missions, that are just so... Like, it kind of shows the problems with some of the physics and some of the stuff of Sonic Generations. Like, that is not a flawless game, and I never thought it was a flawless game. I still think it's one of the best Sonic games. I still think it's one of the best Sonic games, basically. Of course, not the best, but one of the best. But yeah. I think that, let's see, Shadow Gens is like I said, Shadow Gens doesn't really have moments where I'm like, oh, this part, you know, that kind of thing. Like, I mean, in terms of playing through the whole story, let me clarify that. In terms of playing through the whole story, there's no moments where I'm like, ugh, you know, this part. I am, all of me. You know, it was a really solidly made game. But I will have to wait and see how I feel about it years from now to see how I feel. And also that one definitely had a lot more effort put into it than Sonic Colors Ultimate. Let me sit on the sponge here. Or stand on the sponge here. Ah! Let's see here. You know, some of these games, like, I didn't know about the old Sonic games, like, until, like, my cousins mentioned it. My little cousins mentioned, the old Sonic games. I mean, I didn't really pay attention, I guess you could say. Now, I wasn't born until 94. I wasn't born until... sometime, I think, like, not too long after unless I'm getting the dates wrong, not too long after Sonic, that's right, Sonic 3 came out in, Sonic 3 came out on, like, I think February, at least in the United States, it came out February 2nd of 94, and, Came out February 2nd of 94. But, let's see. But it seems like the big bubbles don't come up randomly whenever they're supposed to. Or come up in time. But, what was I gonna say? Sorry, I'm trying to concentrate on a game like this and talk at the same time. It can be a little difficult. I was born after the release of Sonic 3, but before the release of Sonic and Knuckles. So, you know, I was born between the game, the time of the game's release. Now, did Sega make some, like, kind of make Sonic for marketing reasons to just make money and stuff? Of course, but I mean, don't act like the other companies don't do that. They just have different strategies of how they do it. And, like, you know, Sonic wasn't made purely for that thing. It's also because they wanted to make a good game. But I mean, you hear a lot about stuff like Sega doing stuff for like marketing purposes and like that. You know, they're not always the best at it. I mean, Nintendo does that too. You know, I don't want to. Honestly, I feel like I don't even have to complain about Sonic anymore, about the criticisms of Sonic anymore. The over-criticisms, I should say. They're still out there, but Sonic is in a much better place right now. Like, basically, I mean, the movie saved it. The movie saved the franchise, let's face it. The original movie. Because it helped inspire, Sega to do better with Sonic, put more budget into Sonic. Probably helped inspire Sonic Team to do a little better with their work. So we got Sonic Frontiers, which wasn't perfect, but it was really good. And then, because, you know, in the 2010s, while we got Sonic Colors and Sonic Generations, we also got a lot of crud after that. We got a lot of crap. And yeah, we may have gotten Sonic Mania, but that was more so a remix of older Sonic games with maybe some new stages than it was, you know. I mean, it was a good game, but it wasn't. When I do think it was a little overrated. I'll just say it like that. I think it was overrated. It's a good game, but it's not one of the best Sonic games ever made. Oh, it's the best one. Like, whenever I kept seeing best Sonic, again, it was kind of that thing. I shouldn't have let me feel this way, but like, it was a distaste I had for people who was trying to say that only the 2D Sonic games work, and because Forces came out that same year and was like a painfully average game. It was a very like meh game. Because of that, I just think that, like, you know, we also got Sonic Lost World. Looking back on it, I mean, I need to play it again just to see for sure if I think it's as bad as everyone says now. But it really did come out at a really dark time for Sonic. 2010s were definitely the dark age of the Sonic franchise. People, I mean, like I said, people will say that about 2005 and through 2010, or between 2005 and 2010, that was the dark age of Sonic. But it really, while there were definitely some low points in that time, it seemed like there were even lower points in the 2010s overall. Sonic Generations was like the best part of that time. with Sonic Mania probably being the second best, I guess you could say. Yeah, there's a reason everyone I think part of the reason everyone hates Labyrinth Zone... I mean, well, just because it's, you know, you're going a lot slower, but also because the way it's set up, and the fact that, like, at least in the original release of it, if you die, you're starting over. Unless you have cheats, unless you know the passwords, and... Ah! Why? Oh, good. I mean, it's not like I've traveled that far to get there, but, you know... That's a... Just imagine for a moment. You were on your last life in this. You're playing the original version of this game. You're on your last life. And then that crap happens. This is what I mean, like, there's just a bunch of crap like that in the game. Which is why I think these games... Like, I think this one's alright, but, like, it's definitely no masterpiece. Because... Like, that garbage happens in, like, Sonic's 1 and 2 and 3. Like, that's part of why I think that 2D Sonic is not this perfect thing. You have stuff like that. It helps now that this is in widescreen. Ugh! Anyway. It helps now that this is in widescreen. But it doesn't help the game in overall. I mean, okay, it does make a world of difference whenever you have widescreen. But... It's just not, you know... I remember struggling with this on Sonic Genesis. Keep in mind, whenever I got Sonic the Hedgehog Genesis on GBA at the time, I didn't want to really admit that it was a bad game, because it was, at the time, it was like the only way I could play Sonic 1 on the go. And I like the spin dash, but like, I think it became obsolete to me once I got Sega Genesis Collection on PSP, because then that became the more convenient way to play Sonic 1 on the go. Hold on a minute. Alright. I've always liked this place. I've liked this place. I've liked, let's see, I like Spring Yard Zone. Something about, like, I guess this, maybe, I don't know if it's the city aesthetic or what. Even though I don't even live in a city. I'm not quite sure what it is. They just look nice. I think, but I question how much I actually like these games before, because but the reason I question is because I noticed that whenever I played think of here. I noticed that, like, looking back on these games, whenever I played them when I was younger, I mainly played them with cheats. Like, whenever I learned cheats, that's how I got through them more. And so I questioned, like, you know, because it was a lot harder for me to play through them normally. So I was like, you know, how do I really feel about these games? And I came to the conclusion Then I think they're good, just not masterpieces that everyone makes them out to be. But I do indeed still enjoy them. I just don't get in the mood to play them as much as, like, usually, honestly, the 3D games. It just depends on the game. Of course, I played through the advanced games earlier this year through, well, I think it was earlier this year? Yeah, earlier, I don't know, time's kind of blended in for me. But, I mean, you won't find them on this channel, you'll find them on my regular channel. But, you know. This was before I put Danny Vaness Plays, like, this version on, like, DBS Play... DBS Plays / Danny Vaness Plays on, you know, on this channel. Anyway. You know, I was looking up Sonic Mega Collection. Like, not Mega Collection Plus, but Mega Collection on GameCube. And I was expecting it to be like at least, like, $20-something now, at the very least. Or it's probably gonna be like 30, 40 bucks now. Because that's usually how it goes with GameCube games. But... Or, you know, like the good ones. But a lot of GameCube games will... typically be, you know, more expensive than the other ones. And apparently the reason for that is because of the disc rot is faster on GameCube games, so the ones that do work are generally cost more. But anyway, so yeah, I was looking at Sonic Mega Collection, like you know, original. I expected, you know, again, probably somewhere between like $20 and $40-something. I looked it up and on eBay at least, and it's actually I found some for less than 20. I mean, shipping's and tax is probably gonna get closer to that, but still cheaper than basically it's cheaper than I thought it was gonna be. And as of right now, as of this video, that could very well change in the future, but you know, and I know it's not really one of those games that is really needed now to play. Obviously, it's not really needed to play these games, because these games can be everywhere. Let's see. But yeah, you can play these games almost everywhere, almost any system in existence. But you know, after Sega went third party. Yeah, it. Oh boy. There we go. Come on now, do my thing. What are you doing? What is this? Eggman? But, there's something really nostalgic about Sonic Mega Collection. I mean, partially because I was a kid when I played it, but I was like 10 years old when I first played it. It's funny because I got that game. I got Sonic Mega Collection whenever I was whenever I was 10, but I also got Plus the same year, but before Mega Collection. And for some reason, part of the reason I wanted to play it more as a kid was because, or more than Plus at the time, was because I got, you know, it was a new GameCube, it was the new thing. So despite being Sonic Mega Collection Plus but less, that also came out earlier than Sonic Mega Collection Plus. I enjoyed playing it. Again, that was partially because I was playing on the new GameCube. I think some of the extras were kind of cooler. I think if you were to pick between the two, I would say that Sonic Mega Collection Plus was better. I understand what people are saying about the whole menu thing being better on OG Mega Collection.